Okay, so let's just reinforce what he has said. In strategic planning, we focus on helping our organizations improve their long-term performance. So strategic planning is the process of guiding an organization to have the best fit with its environment. The environment keeps on changing, it's no longer the same. So there's need for you to manage the interface between your organization and the environment. Before we can come up with strategies, what do? We need to understand the environment within which we operate. So we try to understand the environment at two levels. One, we'll go to the macro environment, the bigger environment, which we call the macro. So we need to understand the political environment, the economic environment, the social cultural environment, and technology environment. Because this is where you're going to find your opportunities and also even your threats. That's where they come from. So the main factors in the macro environment that you must try to understand, which will affect organization performance, these are the main ones. An organization must understand what's happening in the political environment in terms of government actions, plans, and programs. Economic, what is happening to the exchange rates, to the interest rates, and all those. Social, how is the behavior of the people? What are the tastes of the people? What classes do you find in this particular community? What new habits, what new trends are coming in? And also technology. After you've finished understanding the bigger environment, you narrow down to the industry that you belong. So if you belong to education industry, if you are in the agri sector, in the mining sector, you now narrow down. Now to understand your environment, that narrow environment, we now use 5 forces. So 5 forces is a strategic management model that we use when we want to understand what's happening in the industry. So in your industry, what you're interested in is the profitability of the industry. You know, if you put in an industry where the profits are going down, how do you survive? So the performance of your company and in the future of your company depends on the industry that you are in. You have seen some industries have literally died, isn't it? So as our friends have said, those who are doing the paper, that within the industry, there are 5 forces. The threat of new entrants. If you're in an industry where anyone can just wake up and set up a business, they're saying that you're in trouble. Because tomorrow we can find 1 million people in your industry. What is likely to reduce the entrance, threat of new entrants?
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
Innocent here is lost.
Yeah.
My phone underperformed.
Yes.
At some point.
Yes.
So I don't know where this chapter is coming from, the one you are showing on this as a spreadsheet.
Yes. So we are. Okay, you're able to see it, eh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we're looking at part B of the question. Part B of the question has asked us to talk about the 5 forces and specifically how IT affects the 5 forces. But we started off by looking at all other strategic management models that are mentioned on the syllabus.
Okay.
So I've spoken about the pest analysis, that we use this to understand the overall environment. Now we have narrowed down to your industry. So in the industry that you're in, for you to understand the industry, you use the model called 5 forces. where you ask yourself the questions. How is the threat of new entrants? In some industry, the threat of the new entrants is very high. In others, it's low. Let's talk about mining. Do you think a person can just wake up tomorrow and say, I'll start my own mine? The answer is no, because there's a lot of barriers. You need a lot of capital, a lot of regulation from the government. You need to get a lot of clearance from the stakeholders and all that. Okay. But what of selling drinks? If you say, I want to start selling drinks, open outlet for drinks, that's something that you can easily do. And anyone can do that. Let's go to the next one. Threats of the substitute products. In some industries, there's a lot of substitutes, a lot of it. In some industries, it's very difficult to find a substitute. Bargaining your power of customers. In some industries, customers are big. You deal with big companies, and they're very powerful. They can easily twist your arm. Bargaining power of suppliers. In some industries, you deal with big suppliers, and you have very little to say. How is the level of competition in your industry? Some industries, there's a lot of competition. You can see it in promotions. Where there are promotions, there are discounts, there's a lot of wars. So can you imagine if that's the industry that you're going to join? If the rivalry is very high, you land there and be swallowed. Now, let's address the question which was asked in this paper. Let's address the question. Let's address the questions which were asked. Discuss the impact of changes in information technology on the Potter's 5 forces. So how do you think the changes in technology, and all of you have seen changes in technology, how has change in technology affected these 5 forces in many industries? Give me a comment. Give me your comments. Threat of new entrants. What has IT done? Has the IT demolished barriers or created barriers? Depending on the situation, you may say that in some situation, IT has demolished barriers. For instance, to sell a product now, do you need physical infrastructure? Do you need a building to sell a product?
No.
Not necessarily. You can just go and open an outlet on the internet. Just open a website. You can sell through there. So, by and large, IT has demolished a lot of barriers. Look at the banks now. How many of you go to your banks? Very few. You do everything online. What of substitute products or services? Yes, a lot of substitutes have come. There are a lot of substitutes now, created by IT. I mean, look at learning now. There's no need for you to go for face-to-face learning, no. IT has now introduced these video conferencing facilities. And in the future, there will be better facilities that will come up. Entertainment. IT has created the entertainment. Instead of a person going to play a game somewhere, now you can be on a computer and play games the whole day. Bargaining power of customers. What has happened to customers? In many industries, customers have become very powerful. They have become very, very powerful. Why? They can contact a lot of companies for a product. They can negotiate. So the threat of customers has really increased. I mean, look at tuitions. People can attend tuition now wherever they want. Those years, some people used to travel to the UK to attend tuitions, but now it's not necessary. Even here, they can access it. Buying power of suppliers. What has happened buying power of suppliers? Can I have your comment, please? Suppliers. If you're a supplier, or those people supply, what has happened to their power? In many situations, what has happened?
Their power is reduced.
Yes, the power has been reduced. If a supply is very difficult, people just go to the next supply. People can just go in the internet and type in what they're looking for, and a lot of suppliers will come. What of rivalry among Skype competitors? It has created a lot of rivalry, a lot of it. It has created a lot of rivalry. So your question wanted you to mention these forces and to indicate the likely effect. So that was a question that we're looking at here. Okay. So we are done with question number 5. We can now go straight into question number 1. Let's go into question number 1. An investment appraisal question, but not a very robust one, but at least we can learn 1 or 2 things, isn't it? From every question that you do, there's no question which is not useful, no. Whatever question you look at, always tell yourself, I'll learn 1 or 2 things. That should be the spirit. Don't argue with the examiner, no. Zika students like arguing with the examiner. No, the questions for Zika are not good quality. Take that one away. Take that thinking away. You must just tell yourself, what can I learn from the question? Whatever you learn. Some questions are very good, others are not. So whatever you can learn, just say, may I learn something? That's all. So don't argue with the examiner.
Like the one,
Go ahead.
like the one for 5 portal size, it is 3.3.
There's just some introduction. There's some models, I think pastel, paste, and the same Potter's 5 forces. They want you to talk about them.
But we have it in 2.5.
Yes.
Is it part of the...
Yes, there's something very small on the strategic management forces, which include the, I think, PEST and also Potter's 5 forces. I'll check it out for you. Yeah. So every question that we do, tell yourself that, me, I want to learn something as an accountant. Whatever I can pick is useful. Yeah. Do not argue with the examiners. They are in control. For now, they're in control till you have passed the exams. For now, the examiner is in control. Soon after you have passed the paper, that now you can say the examiner has got no hold on me. But for now, listen to him by taking the question and learning something from every question you do. Okay, let's go. Advise management of Jumbe on the most financially viable course of action. To me, the lesson that we pick here is relevant costs and also annuity. Only 2 lessons that we pick. We pick 2 lessons. Concept of relevant and also annuities. Okay. So you only pick costs that are relevant. So let's go for existing machine. Existing machine, your costs are here. 60, 1350, 925, 2000. These are relevant. These fixed expenses, depreciation and fixed overhead absorbed. The examiner wanted you to remove those. That's all. That's all they wanted you to do. They wanted you to pick only costs that are relevant. Materials, variable overhead, maintenance costs, and so let's go. Let's put in the figures. 60, 1350,
925,
925, and
2000.
2000. So these are the costs per each machine. This is the cost.
Oh, there are 2 machines, yeah?
Yes, Innocent, there are 3. That's another trick. I wanted you to note that there are 3. So you need to, that's another trick which was there. Number of machines, that's 3. Total cost. The Anna. So there's no issues, right? Okay, every year, and this will go on for the next 10 years. So you bring the annuity factors. Okay, for 10 years now, we have to calculate our discount factor. So we'll come to the discount factor later. Listen, what of the new machine? What are the costs?
$162,000.
Yes.
The 3,000.
So those are the ones that you pick. So remember the lesson here was in relevant costing. So 162. Let me put my, okay, so here we are. So we start with the materials. Materials, 162,000. Then next one, variable expenses in terms of labor. That's 3. $39. Variable expenses. How much is that? 2275. And how much is the maintenance cost? $45. Okay, there we are. Now, discount rate, there's a good question for you here. The company is financed 70% equity, 30% debt. Debt consists of 8% redeemable, trading at 103. And also the corp tax is 30, government bonds are 7. So there's an opportunity for us to calculate the cost of the work. So let's calculate the work, guys. Let's calculate the work. Cost of equity using the capital asset pricing model. What is a risk-free? risk-free plus 4.7
4.7,
plus a beta,
which is 1.05.
yes. What is the answer now here?
Multiplied by the premium 7.
Yes, so what do you find? Actually, I must do this. That's the correct way of arranging it. Answer?
12.05.
Excellent. Now, let us discuss if a bond is irredeemable. If the bond is irredeemable, tell me. If the bond is irredeemable,
Innocent.
if the bond is irredeemable, how do you get the cost? I want the formula for a bond which is irredeemable. That's a lesson here. That's a major lesson here.
One over the rate multiplied by what market value, is it?
Okay.
That'd be interest rate of tax over the price.
Good. Cost of debt equals the interest. I'll put amount divided by the market value of debt. So let's go. What is the interest amount? Interest amount here 8%. 8% by 100, giving you 8. What is the tax rate? Tax rate 30%. Tax rate is 30%. So what's the cost of debt? The cost of debt is 8 brackets 1 minus 30%, which is 0.7. Which is 0.7 divided by the market value. What's the market value of bond? 103.2. Okay, and we multiply everything by 100. So this calculation is very nice, huh? So what is your answer now? What is the answer? Huh? Okay, that's what I'm getting there. I'm getting 5.43. Is that okay? What is the work? Hmm? 30% multiplied by plus 70% multiplied by could somebody please give us the answer? What is the weighted average cost of capital?
That's 10.06.
10.06. Okay, there we are. That's what I'm getting as well. 10.06. So the discount rate we're supposed to use is 10%. So let's conclude our work now here. 10%. I need to factor 10%.
$3.791.
Okay. What's the answer here?
3.791.
For 6 years.
Oh, for 6 years. Oh, sorry. For 6 years is 2.355.
Sorry. Let's see. It's me who has misled you. They have told that they have given us the information here. Let me just pick it up here. Okay.
6.14. 10 years.
They have said the new machine's estimated life is 10 years and it will cost 100 million. Yes. 10 years, right? 10 years.
That's 6.145.
Yes.
Sir,
Yes, please.
I think by the time we were explaining about the 3,000 kwacha that has been omitted for the new machine, my phone also I think went off.
Which
So I got lost.
the
This one that
relevant cost.
it is relevant.
The relevant cost. Let's check which one you're talking about.
2 operators at 1,500 hours.
Three plus 9, 39.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay. Okay, there we go. So what should we do? We compare these two figures here. That one with that one. So which one is cheaper? We can see that the new machine, the value of the new machine is higher because of the low cost. Okay, so the new machine cost is 1061, there 1184. So there's going to be a net saving. There's a net saving over this period of time. And that's a net saving there. Okay, 123, 822. So advise our company to go for this new machine. Yeah. Not a very good question, investment appraisal. You people have done much better questions than this, isn't it? Not a very good question, but at least you have practiced something, the word computation, and also you have practiced something on relevant cost.
Yes, sir.
The better question that I see in this part is part C. Part C is the one I want to discuss. Given that Jumbo shares expects to grow at the current rate of 12% per year for the next 3 years, and then 8% per year indefinitely thereafter, assuming the required rate of return on equity is 15, and the last dividend paid was 0.75, calculate the share price. This is an item which can be repeated, which we want to discuss. Let's go. To value shares, valuation of shares, we discussed the 3 methods. What are the 3 methods that value our shares?
Was he around?
This guy is down.
So let us look at valuation of shares. We covered the methods. What are the methods that we can use? We noticed yesterday that we can use an asset-based method. We can use a market-based method. Or we can use a cash flow-based method. Okay, here we do the net assets. There, then we do the PE. And there we do the dividend valuation model. Now, let's take the cash flow dividend valuation model. What does this method involve? Discounting of dividends. So if you have got a constant dividend, we say the share price equals dividend divided by the cost of equity. That's what we do. What of constant growth? Constant growth. You say your share price equals dividend after 1 year divided by KE minus G. So if a dividend is constant, growing forever, not growing forever, it's constant, the same figure every year forever, that's what you use. If the dividend is going at a constant rate, this is what we use. Okay. Now, what of if the growth is not constant from the word go? What do you do? That's a situation that you have here. So you still do the same thing. You say? Okay. Yeah. The first dividend must be 1 year from now. So let's take the dividend. A dividend of 0.75. The last dividend was 0.75. So you take the dividend. So it's growing first of all by what rate? It grows by 12%. So let's go 12%. 1 year later, what will it be? It will be 0.84. What of after that? There we go. Then you discount at 15%. Discount at 15%. Can somebody please give us the factors? Okay, there we are. Beyond, that's when this pattern becomes applicable. Because they say after 3 years, then there'll be a constant growth of how much? And then 8% per year thereafter. So this pattern, this formula becomes relevant after year 3. So what do we do? What you do is you apply this formula where you say 1.05 brackets 1.08, the growth of 8%, divided by the cost of equity 15% minus the growth rate of 8%. So this pattern does not kick in. No. After 3 years, that's when it kicks in. Is that okay? Have you seen people where this has come from? So when you're at end of year 3, that's the value that you have. So all the dividends that will come after year 3, that's your value. But to convert the present value, you multiply by the discount factor for year 3. To convert this to present value, you're going to multiply by the discount factor for year 3. That is something that confuses a lot of students. Okay, people, let's discuss now. Let us discuss now. Let us discuss. Let us discuss the question. This is a learning point, serious learning point here. That is a serious learning point. So if a dividend is not growing at a constant rate every year, all you do is you follow it up first, like what you have done for these 3 years. Those 3 years we just made the follow. Okay. This formula became applicable after these 3 years. So this value that you got was present value after 3 years. So get what it is today, you discount using the same value, the same discount factor. So this is the value at end of year 3. That is why we're discounting using that figure there. Questions, normally. People have a challenge with this method. Are there any questions, people, on this?
Okay, just a clarification on the first 3 years.
Yes.
If we're growing at 12%, why didn't we use the constant growth formula?
Yeah, but this constant growth formula, this one, where is it? Constant growth. This formula is only working if the growth will take place forever.
Oh, okay.
Where it's
Okay,
not forever,
right.
you grow it manually like this.
Okay, noted.
Excellent. Okay. Now, are you people on leave currently? Or you are still going for work this week?
Still going for work, sir.
You are still going for work. Yeah.
Even on the day of exams. After the exam, back to the office.
Back to the office. Yeah, no, times are hard. I hear you. Times are very, very hard.
But we have a lunch break
But
between 12 to 14. We have a lunch break.
between 12 to 14. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. No, I hear you. Maybe we use that one for your paper. We'll choose the paper. Remember, we have a paper on Tuesday, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So that one we use it for those who are writing on Tuesday, so that at least as many as possible can attend. Okay, so let me pick a paper here now. Okay. Now, when I assign you some work, do you get time to do this work? When I assign,
Now if
We have started now.
now you have started.
yes,
So this one,
yes, sir.
this
After
one,
these ones,